All right, good evening, everyone. Thank you for coming to tonight's event. My name is Jacob Bartko, and I'm the Vice President of Operations here at the JES, and it is my pleasure to kick off tonight's event, and I'm here to do three things. Number one, go over some housekeeping notes. Two, tell you about upcoming JES events. And three, introduce tonight's event coordinators to my right. First, some housekeeping. If you need assistance during the event, please find one of our staff members at the back of the room. Reminders for questions afterwards. If you do have a question, raise your hand to be called on and speak directly into the microphone. Also, please keep your questions brief and concise and refrain from offering lengthy statements. Now on to upcoming events. Tomorrow at 7 p.m., Dr. James Lynn will deliver a lecture at the JES, Living Successfully, Aging Successfully, which is a partnership program with LECOM Health. Then next Monday at 11 a.m., Tom Hagen, Tim Nicastro, Marty Eisert, and Steve Scully will discuss Erie Insurance at 100, a remarkable past and a promising future. Lastly, I would like to introduce you to tonight's Jeopardy event coordinators, Mark Becker, George Deutsch, Deac Manross, and Rick Tome. Mark Becker, an Erie native, enlisted in the Army in 1975, later attending West Point and serving in elite units such as Special Forces and Explosive Ordnance Disposal, earning multiple awards, including the Bronze Star. After his military career, he oversaw R&D for Special Operations Forces and earned a law degree from Wake Forest, passing the North Carolina and Florida bar exams. George Deutsch, Executive Director Emeritus of the Erie County Historical Society, Hagen History Center, led an $11 million revitalization of the center and has co-founded multiple local historical organizations. A respected historian and educator, he has lectured at both Chautauqua and here at the Jefferson, and is currently writing a book on the 83rd Pennsylvania Infantry. Rick Tome, a Civil War history enthusiast and active volunteer, has presented for the Erie Civil War Roundtable and taught religious education for well over a decade. He retired from a long career at St. Vincent Hospital and now enjoys golf, travel, reading, and historical research. And last but not least, Deac Manross has spent over 65 years studying the Civil War, participating in reenactments and visiting battlefields across the U.S. A retired professor and tech industry veteran, he now enjoys sailing, hiking, and making maple syrup with his wife. Ladies and gentlemen, let's give Mark, George, Deac, and Rick a warm JES welcome. I guess I'll turn that on.
Well, thank you very much, Jake. That was a very nice introduction for the four of us. We appreciate that. And thank you to the Jefferson Education Society for allowing us to have this venue. We have so many more people, and it's wonderful to see that you all came out, and I do see some familiar faces. Yes, this is Civil War Jeopardy, and this is going to be our second rollout. We did this once before in a much smaller venue down at the Hagen History Center, and that was back in November, and it met with a lot of success. People seemed to like it, so we got together and we decided let's do it again. Now, I will say to you, our budget is not quite what you'll see as the budget on the TV game. They have a few more years under their belt and a few $1 billion more. In fact, we would meet in my basement, the four of us, and our budget was a few pizzas and some beer. So if you can appreciate that. But I just want to go over a few of the game rules. Okay, it's very much like Jeopardy, but a few differences, again, because of our budgetary constraints. We will ask the contestants, and we'll introduce them in just a minute or two here, to please wait for the questions to be finished in full, and then you can buzz in, okay? I do have a device here. We kind of upped our technology with the buzzers, and I have a little device here that when they buzz in, it tells me whether it's team 1, 2, or 3, and I believe this is team 1 here, team 2, and team 3, and you'll see that up on the board here shortly. So we'll wait for the questions before buzzing. We don't have a timer, okay? We don't have anything that'll go boop, boop, you know, if you can't come up with a question. So we're gonna go 6, 7 seconds roughly, maybe 8 seconds, just kind of in our head. If we don't get an answer from you, we're gonna then move on to the next. No need for our contestants to respond in the form of a question. If you want to, that's fine, but we just didn't want to have to add another technical thing to have to try to keep track of. So just giving the answer will be fine here. Your scores will be added and subtracted. If you're correct, of course, they're added, and when you're wrong, we will subtract that amount. Please, no help from the audience. I'm sure you won't do that anyway, but if you could also silence your phones, that would be important to us too, so we don't have that interruption. And then we will take a short break between our rounds, maybe 5 minutes between the single Jeopardy and the double Jeopardy, and we'll take a short break between double Jeopardy and final Jeopardy. So with that, I would like to get into the introduction of our players. We allowed for singles, of course, and no more than a pair. And you can see we have a couple of pairs and one brave single gentleman here in the middle. So over here we have John Mingy and your son, Robert Mingy. Very good. And I just want to ask you, well, first of all, John Mingy informed me that it was about 15 years ago.
2011.
2011 that he actually was a contestant on the TV version of Jeopardy. So we have a ringer here, folks.
I didn't win. Okay.
He did not win, but I thought that was a cool piece of trivia, and John's here to help him out. Very good. Here we have our brave singular guy, Bruce Barrett. And Bruce, tell us where you're from.
I'm from Meadville.
Meadville?
Retired attorney. Civil War buff for probably 50 years or more, and I know all the answers if I can find them to get them out. But I spoke to the roundtable here a few months ago, and I've spoken at the Meadville roundtable a number of times, and it's interesting, it's fun. So when I was invited, I said, I'll take it.
He jumped right in, and Bruce will be contestant number 2, okay? Our contestant number 3, we have a couple, Jim and Marty Sawyer, and you're local folks, aren't you?
Yes.
Very good, and they're, they were brave enough to come forth and to act as contestants, putting their skills on the line here. So I want to wish everybody a good luck here, and we'll start our game very quickly. Let's test our buzzers just to make sure. The Mingy group number 1. There we go. Bruce, how about your buzzer? How's that working? He has that one, and the Sawyers. Very good. So, with that, let's play Jeopardy. Oh, you know what we need to do? Here's what I forgot to do. We have to figure out who gets to go first, don't we? Each of you are going to pick a card. So pick a card. Okay, there. Bruce, card. And Robert Mingy. Now, if you flip it over, I just did it in pencil in one of the corners. There should be the number 1 somewhere in a corner. Right here. Okay, so the Mingys, they get to go first, okay? So we have our categories. Let's take a look at our categories, won't we? We start off here with Lincoln. Then we have the year 1862. So the answers will be what happened in 1862. Erie County in the Civil War. Of course, we would have to have a local flavor to it, wouldn't we? And then Gettysburg, being the big battlefield in the state of Pennsylvania. Assassination, of course, that's the Lincoln assassination. And then the year May, 1864. So with the Mingys, if you want to pick a category and a value.
Rick, let's go for 1862 for 100, please.
100, 1862. The alternate name for the Battle of Pittsburgh Landing. And we have Bruce Barrett, number 2.
What is Shiloh?
What is Shiloh is correct for 100. You have the board.
Gettysburg, 500.
Gettysburg 500. And we have this farmer, the last name is fine. This farmer owned the infamous peach orchard. And we have the Minges.
Who is Sherfy?
Who is Sherfy is correct for 500. And you have the board.
1862, 200, please.
1862, Fredericksburg, Virginia, lies on this strategic river. And we have the Minges again.
What is the Rappahannock?
What is the Rappahannock is correct. You still hold the board.
300, please.
300, 1862. The cabinet member who advised Lincoln to wait for a Union victory before announcing the Emancipation Proclamation. And we have team 1.
Who is Seward?
Who is Seward is correct. You still have the board.
400, please.
400. Confederate General A.P. Hill marched his division from this location into the Battle of Antietam. Again,
What is Harper's Ferry?
Harper's Ferry is correct. And you still have the board.
Finish category, please. 500.
We're finishing the category. Confederate forces were entrenched on this high ground at Fredericksburg. Oh, and looks like we have the Sawyers, number 3.
Mary's Heights.
Okay, we will accept that. Mary's Heights, very good for 500. And now you have the board.
Which one do you want? Erie County in the Civil War, 100.
100. This colonel raised the Erie Regiment at the beginning of the war. And we have Bruce Barrett.
Who is Strong Vincent?
No, that is not correct.
Yes, I knew it was.
And that's the buzzer. And the answer is
McLean.
John McLean. Very good. We have a school named after him out there towards Edinburgh, don't we? Okay, you still have the board, Marty and Jim.
Gettysburg for 100.
Gettysburg 100. This general was shot in the left leg on July 1st, but still continued to command throughout the battle without being treated.
Sorry. I hit it.
Well,
Sorry.
oh, okay.
That was
Well,
fun.
you have to try to give an answer.
Yeah. Go ahead, Nancy.
I know. I want to say Hancock.
No, Hancock is not correct. This is an interesting one. We'll talk about this at the end, too, by the way. And the answer is General Richard Ewell. And I will just want to make a quick comment. I should have before we started. At the end, we will have a question and answer period. So whatever things you might see up here that interest you, please try to keep track of that, and we will be glad to address that.
It wasn't his leg.
Oh, and yes, if you folks could talk a little more into the mic with your answers, okay? Bruce, did you have the board? No, who had the board? The Sawyers did, that's correct.
Lincoln for 100.
Lincoln for 100. Lincoln was this number president of the United States. And we have the Sawyers, team 3.
16.
The 16th is correct. That's why it's a 100-point question. You still
Well, I
have the
got it
board. You were right.
Lincoln for 200.
And 200. On January 1st, 1863, Lincoln used his war powers to issue an order to free slaves in the rebelling states. And again, the Sawyers, team 3.
The Emancipation Proclamation.
What is the Emancipation Proclamation? Very good. And you still control the board.
Lincoln for 300.
You're doing well. Oh, this is the one I have to read now. Lincoln traveled from Illinois to Washington, D.C. for his first inauguration, stopping to visit 11-year-old Grace Bedell in this local town. Yes, team 3.
Maysville, New York.
No, I'm sorry, it is not Mayfield. Okay, you were close. The answer is Westfield, New York. So close.
Just I'm I'm playing judge tonight and commentator. That statue of Lincoln and Grace is right on Route 20 in the center of Westfield. It's a beautiful little spot. If you go out there for whatever reason, it's worth a stop to pay a little homage to Grace, who was the young girl that wrote Lincoln that he would look better growing a beard.
And there's a few good restaurants around there, too. It's a nice day trip. Okay, Team 3, you still control the board.
Assassination 100.
Assassination 100. This event changed the conspirators' plan from kidnapping Lincoln to killing him. And we have the Minji group.
What is the surrender at Appomattox?
What is the surrender at Appomattox is correct. Yes, very good. And now you have the board.
May 64 for 100, please.
Okay. The overall commanders at the Battle of the Wilderness. And that is Team 1.
Who were Grant and Lee?
Who were Grant and Lee is correct. Very good. Once again, you have the board.
200, 1864.
The name given to the series of battles in Virginia from May 4th, June 1864.
What is the Overland Campaign?
What is the Overland Campaign is correct. Very good. You still have the board.
300.
300 in 1864.
Forget that.
This Confederate lieutenant general was seriously wounded by friendly fire while leading a counterattack towards the Key Brock Road intersection in the Wilderness. Yes,
Who was
19
A.P. Hill?
No, that is not correct. Boop, boop. The answer is James Longstreet, because he was wounded in the neck or the throat very seriously during
I will
that battle.
throw in here that Longstreet was wounded 4 miles and a year and 3 days after Stonewall Jackson was also killed by friendly fire just down the road.
You still have the board, Team 1.
64 for 400.
This salient in the Confederate line at Spotsylvania was the target of the single largest Union charge of the war, led by General Winfield Hancock. Yes, Team 1.
What is the Bloody Angle?
No, that is not correct. Boop, boop. And the answer is the Mule Shoe. Remember, it was a salient. It was sticking out, kind of bowed out as a salient, as a bulge. You still have the board, Team 1.
Let's switch to Gettysburg 200.
This Confederate brigade commander was the first to encounter Union troops. Yes.
Who was Heath?
Who was Heath? No, it was not Heath. Boop, boop. And the answer is James Pettigrew. Pettigrew was the first.
Pettigrew was a brigade commander under Harry Heath, but the question was brigade commander.
You still have the board, Team 1.
Okay. Gettysburg 300.
Two brothers were raised together in Gettysburg, but one moved to Virginia and fought for the South. He returned to fight at Gettysburg and was killed on this family farm named after his family. Yes, Bruce, number 2.
Who is Skelly?
No, not Jack Skelly. I'm sorry. Anyone? Boop, boop. Culp, the Culp family. Culp's Hill, Wesley Culp, who was killed on his family's farm. And you still, Team 1, have the board.
Gettysburg 400.
This Confederate general, a former congressional member, was killed on the second day of the battle. Team 1.
Who was Barksdale?
Barksdale is correct. Very good. And you still have the board.
Erie County, 200.
The original name of the iron-hulled warship built in Erie that played an important role in the Civil War. Team 1.
The Michigan?
What is the Michigan? Very good. Good job, and you still control
How you know that?
the categories.
Thanks for your confidence.
Erie County, sorry. Here, you hold that. Erie County, 300.
The name of the dominant political party in Erie County during the Civil War. Boop, boop. The Republican Party. Republican Party back then.
I'll jump in here of interest. Erie County was one of the only 2 or 3 counties in the entire state that voted for the Republicans in 1856 when James Buchanan, who was from Lancaster, won the presidency. Erie County and Crawford County both voted for James Fremont. And it showed how strong the abolitionist movement was up here in northwestern Pennsylvania.
And Team 1, you still control the board.
Let's finish out 64 for 500.
Oh, I got to read this one here. Okay. This large oak tree was cut down by small arms fire during an 11-hour fight as it stood along this section of the Confederate trench line at Spotsylvania. Boop, boop. The answer?
The bloody angle.
The bloody angle. That's a lot of bullets, folks. a lot of mini balls. Okay, you still have the board.
Erie County, 400.
This regiment, raised primarily in Erie County, suffered the highest number of battle deaths during the Federal defeat at Fredericksburg. And we have Team 2, Bruce.
Who are the 83rd Pennsylvania?
No, I'm sorry, not the 83rd. Boop, boop. The 145th Pennsylvania Volunteer Infantry.
Civil War, 500, Erie County.
He led the 83rd Pennsylvania Volunteer Infantry on Little Round Top at Gettysburg. We have Team 3, the Sawyers.
Who is Strong Vincent?
No, it was not Strong Vincent. Boop, boop. This was a tough one. Captain O.S. Woodward. Remember,
Oh, of course.
Vincent. Yeah.
Okay.
Vincent was the brigade commander, and we're asking for the 83rd, which would be a regiment. Okay, the Minges, you still have control.
Assassination, 200.
For 200, this cabinet member was also targeted for assassination on April 14th, 1865. And that is number 2, Bruce Barrett.
Who is Seward?
Who is William Seward? Very good. It's a very interesting story, by the way. And Bruce, you have the board.
Assassination for 3?
After leaping onto the stage, John Wilkes Booth was heard to have shouted this to the stunned audience. And number 2, Bruce.
Sic semper tyrannis.
Sic semper tyrannis, which means thus always to tyrants. Very good, and you have the board.
Assassination 400?
Gazing upon the lifeless president, he is credited with the words, "Now he belongs to the ages." And we have the Minges, Group 1.
Who was Stanton?
Who is Edwin Stanton. Very good, Secretary of War.
I'll jump in here for just a second. That quote is interesting because there are people who were in the room that stated that Stanton said, "Now he belongs to the angels." But Stanton insisted for later publication it was to the ages.
And Team 1, you do have the board.
Assassination, 500.
This Union sergeant fired the shot that killed John Wilkes Booth? Bruce, number 2.
Who is Boston Corbett?
Who is Boston Corbett? That is correct. And you have 2 left on the board. We have 1 column left.
Lincoln 400?
For decades, Lincoln had a contentious relationship with the Chief Justice of the United States Supreme, with this Chief Justice of the United States Supreme Court. And team 1?
Who was Roger Taney?
Who is Roger Taney? That is correct. And our final question. Lincoln was the postmaster and read the law in this small town. Boop, boop. New Salem, Illinois. Okay, everybody, that completes our first round of Jeopardy. Let's take a look at the scores here. Thank you, audience.
I should have answered that last one. I didn't make it.
Can we get our scores back? Okay. Here we come. Just a double check. Yeah, okay. Or Deac, you can.
All right, Team 1 has 2,100 points. Singleton, Mr.
Bruce Barrett?
Yes, Mr. Bruce has 500, and Team 3 brings up the rear at minus 100.
Okay. So we're going to have to lock these guys in the bathroom, I guess, aren't we? During the break.
But I'd like to point out that when we did this with the last fall with the Erie Civil Roundtable, the people who were in the lead after second round,
Yes.
the second Double Jeopardy, were quite a bit in the lead, and they lost it all in Final Jeopardy. So there's the gauntlet tours.
Yeah, it was the people that had the least amount
Yeah.
won
They
it in
actually won
Final
it.
Jeopardy. So it was interesting. Well, listen, ladies and gentlemen, great audience. We're going to take a little break for about 5 minutes. You want to get up and stretch or use the hospitality there or the restrooms, and we'll see you back here in about 5 minutes, okay?
I like those $100 questions. I like the $100 questions. He knew the answer. I know. And there's a couple of them.
You want a hot streak?
I did, because I didn't know things were answering wrong. I didn't know you did. I don't think you watched Jeopardy. I answered a few right, so I'm doing better than I thought we would have. So it's all right. It's all good. You do such a good format like that.
How you doing? I have Mark's card, or the card that Mark wanted me to give you. No, that's okay. No.
So, yeah, if he does that again,
Oh, you were here for a bit? I'm not going too fast. My pace is okay. We're doing good. That's great.
he's doing a great job.
That's my daughter, by the way, Carolyn.
So I know her working for through the Global Summit. Yeah. How's things
Prizes? I know, I was just reminded. I had put them over there, so I didn't see them. I'll get them. I'll start off the second round with that. Good. There's George. Huh, so far so good, I think. Yeah.
He's taught in Allegheny, but I guess not.
Yeah, that's right. They do get penalized, that's right.
Yep, a little bit. I might.
Big screens.
We had another idea.
Play
He knows those answers like the back of his hand. He's like, yeah.
Finally got a little, I was more nervous.
Oh, yeah.
Harper's Ferry.
We only had one.
Those are some really hard questions.
Like, oh, sorry.
Yeah,
Right.
right. Let's see, you change the name.
Well, I was telling the guys when they were coming to practice, if it's pushing and it's going, yeah, and maybe we do it for other topics. Maybe we do it once a term. Because we have,
Yeah, oh, sure, yeah.
Oh, I did, I know.
yeah.
And you can even take the same.
Right.
This Virginia farmer said the war started in my front parlor, in my front yard, and ended in my parlor. And if you flip that around and say, this, take the question, flip them around, play with them, even though they have but ask in a different way.
Right. No, I think
We do it with everyone.
yeah, I love it. It's going great. Good turnout, too. This is about 60, I counted.
Really, that's excellent. Very exciting. Okay,
All right.
Well, we got beat by the buzzer a few times, and we had a couple of answers, so, yeah. We're there.
oh, yeah.
Sure.
You want to do or?
So I just found out that he was on the regular Jeopardy show. I wanted to talk to him about sort of this and that.
If we can do it afterwards,
All right, I appreciate that.
all right.
Should have brought some of the little cheat sheets so I could have been studying it.
2-minute warning, everybody.
I know.
This is really nice.
How many did you have before when you did it?
You should tell them that was a book test. Actually, I told them that.
It's probably
It's all right.
and me.
I think Civil War really does act as like the gateway drug to general history.
Oh,
of
sure
race.
does.
Yeah, it's like so. It's like it's the first love of anyone who gets into history.
Crossroads for our nation.
Exactly. I mean,
You guys got a couple of those I didn't expect to get, so you did well.
He pulled up the Michigan.
Yeah.
If I had seen it in front of me on a piece of paper, I would have.
Be all official.
All right.
I was down at the when I was doing orientation for City of Erie. I was down kind of like 500 times stuff. So I was like, I was killing time between sessions.
So when you did Bloody Angle, pressure's on. When the tree came up, you.
No, he was saying it to himself, but he's like, it can't be. He didn't want to get burned again.
Psych people out.
It's like on the real
I
show,
have
you
never looked at
know
it.
the answer, you don't say it, you're like,
You will kill me because we were just at Gettysburg, and I was like,
Oh.
Oh. Get a picture with George.
Are we ready, guys?
Okay, you ready?
Mark and Deac, we about ready?
John Last is back there.
Is he?
Set?
I have to wait till I read the question, but I get excited.
You do, and you get a little early.
Well, while we're getting ready from a technical standpoint, just a couple of things before we start Double Jeopardy, and that is the folks here at the Jefferson Educational Society, I forgot to mention at the beginning, very generously will be awarding prizes to the winners of tonight's contest. Very nice prizes. I understand that they are $100 gift certificates to the Jefferson Society, so that would could certainly be used for the numerous programs that they have throughout the year. And I'd also like to say, as we are part of this team here that put this game together, we are part of the Erie County Civil War Roundtable. And we base out of the Hagan History Center downtown, and we enjoy working in partnership with the Jefferson Educational Society. So if you have any interest, and I hope you do, of being part of the Erie County Civil War Roundtable and the Jefferson Society, you can be parts of both. Please see one of us up here. We can take your name, and if you want to give us your email, we have a pretty extensive email list, and we let people know when our meetings are and what the topics are, and it's a fun venture. You know, it's about an hour and a half of time, a few months out of the year. So if you have interest in that, please let us know, okay? And we can get you on our listing. Okay, we're gonna get our second screen up.
Bit of technical issues, so we'll get there. That's it.
Okay, I just want to. Unfortunately, the technology is such that I can't transport the phase one, the single Jeopardy scores into now. So what I've done is I only have increments of 200. So just use your math and add 100 to team one and team two and subtract 100 to team three. Sorry about that. Well, we're also keeping score on paper over here too. So we, as a backup, so we will let you know what the scores are with that. But yes, now we are into Double Jeopardy, and as you know, the scores can change quite a bit in Double Jeopardy. And let's take a look at our categories. We will start off with battles. We have another year, 1863 as a category. Confederate leaders, and the always popular, it could be anything, potpourri. 1865. And finally, this is my favorite really, last words. These are the last words that have been agreed upon, that different characters have spoken before their death. So we will go with the team that has the least amount of score. Let's begin our Double Jeopardy, and that would be Team 3 here, the Sawyers. You go right ahead.
Last words for 200.
Last words for 200. Strike the tent. Bruce.
Robert E. Lee.
Robert E. Lee. Very good. Bruce, you now have control of the board.
1863, 200.
And we have the two opposing cavalry commanders who led the cavalry clash near Brandy Station in 1863. It was the largest cavalry battle in the Civil War. We need the two commanders. And we have the Minges.
Who were Stewart and Pleasanton. Whoops. I did know that, actually.
I know you did. That is correct. That is correct. That's okay. You had it halfway out there. Okay, you have control of the board.
1863, 400.
He guided the Legal Tender Act through Congress that established the greenback. Boop, boop.
Rick, we decided we were going to ask the audience.
Oh, that was another thing I was informed of during the break. If nobody can come up with the answer, we're going to include some audience participation. So only when someone doesn't know, okay? Anybody want to take a chance? Yes, back there. Salmon
right.
Chase, that is good. So it looks like you get whatever the value was.
What was really interesting about this was Salmon Chase, who was the Secretary of the Treasury. Lincoln appointed him to be Chief Justice in 1864 after Roger Taney passed away, knowing that a number of the executive orders at that point would be challenged through the Supreme Court, and he was most worried about the greenbacks. So he figured if he put Chase in as Chief Justice, that would not get challenged. Well, it turned out in 1867, the greenback issue came up before the court. Chase was Chief Justice, and he voted that it was unconstitutional.
And this is why we have George here. Thank you, George. Team 1, you still have the board.
600, 1863.
In addition to the Civil War, the other significant conflict the United States endured in 1863. Boop, boop. Anybody want to take a chance in the audience? That's a tough one. Yes, in the back.
Indian uprising in, say, Minnesota or something like that?
You're very close, very good. The Sioux uprising in the Dakotas, yes. Very good. Wow. Very impressive. That's Paul back there, right? Yes, good job, Paul. Okay, team 1, the board.
800, 1863.
Besides slavery, another very significant social reform movement that gained momentum in 1863. Boop, boop. Audience? Yes, in the middle. Oh, yeah, we'll wait for the microphone coming your way.
Women's rights.
Well, the women's suffrage movement. Yes, very good. Wow, we have some very good audience. Shall we sign you two up for the next time we do this? Okay, team 1.
Just ask them in the back. 1863.
The often overlooked Civil War campaign that took place in July 1863, simultaneously with Gettysburg and Vicksburg, and it resulted in yet another significant Union victory. And we have the Minji Group.
What is the Red River campaign?
No, I'm sorry. Anyone? Boop, boop. That would be the Tullahoma. Oh, I'm sorry, I shouldn't. Is that what you were going to say? I'm sorry. Yeah, I jumped. The Tullahoma campaign. Yes, I'm so sorry.
As a matter of fact, John, Red River was a Confederate victory, not a Union victory.
And you still have the board.
Okay. Battles 200.
Battles 200. The Confederate General James Longstreet famously said about this battle, "A chicken could not live on that field when we open on it." Boop, boop. And we'll leave it up to the audience.
Double Jeopardy is a little harder than single Jeopardy.
Nobody? Our answer is the Battle of Fredericksburg. He promised to open up and put so much fire on the field below his troops that not even a chicken would find enough left there to live on it. Team 1.
Battles 400.
This battle is nicknamed the Battle Above the Clouds.
What is Missionary Ridge?
No, well, it's not. No, it's not. It's in that vicinity, but no. Bruce, number 2.
What is Lookout Mountain?
The Battle of Lookout Mountain. Yes, it was up so high that part of that mountain was obscured by mist and fog and clouds. You have the board, Bruce.
Battle 600?
Before this battle, the Army of Potomac soldiers pinned their names on their uniforms so their bodies could later be identified? Boop, boop. Audience, in the back, we have a mic. What is Cold Harbor? That's very good. That is correct. Good job. Bruce, do you still who had the board here?
800.
800 is Bruce, yes. The twin battles that destroyed the Confederate Army of Tennessee. And we have team one.
What are Nashville and Franklin?
Nashville and Franklin is correct. Very good. And you have the board.
1,000 battles?
This completes the category. The largest joint operation, meaning Army and Navy, battle of the war. And team one?
What is Vicksburg?
No, that is incorrect. Boop, boop. Audience. No takers. And our answer is the Battle of Fort Fisher / Wilmington, North Carolina, in very early 1865. And we still have the Minjies in control of the board.
Confederate leaders, 200.
200, the lieutenant general who allegedly said in his southern drawl, "I get thar firstest with the mostest." And we have number one.
Who was Nathan Bedford Forrest?
Very good, Nathan Bedford Forrest.
400, same category.
The Confederate general who was the son of a president of the United States. You have four choices. Boop, boop. Audience. The answer is Richard Taylor, Zachary Taylor's son.
600 leaders.
The commander of the Army of Northern Virginia for a day when Joseph E. Johnston was wounded at the Battle of Seven Pines. Again, you have a choice of four. Boop, boop. Our answer? Oh, I'm sorry. That's right. Audience? That's a tough one. Gustavus Woodson Smith. You all knew that, didn't you?
Let's try 1865 or 600.
A new category, 1865. The Virginian who said, "The war began in my front yard and ended in my parlor." Bruce.
Who is McLean?
Who is Wilmer McLean? Very good. That's where the truce was signed between Lee and Grant at Appomattox. Bruce, you got the board.
Potpourri for 200.
In late 1863, President Lincoln attended a performance of The Marble Heart at Ford's Theater, featuring this famous actor. Minjies?
Yes. Who is Edwin Booth?
No, that is not correct. Bruce.
I believe it was John Wilkes Booth.
John Wilkes Booth, yes. We associate him with Our American Cousin, but he was also in many other productions. That was a little twist of a trick there on you. Bruce?
Potpourri 400.
400. The only state of the 11 secessionist states that did not send regiments to fight for the North. Boop, boop. Audience.
Florida?
I'm going to say Florida.
No, Florida is not correct. Anyone else? And our answer is South Carolina, the cradle of secession. No regiments from South Carolina for the North.
Potpourri 600.
600. The orator who delivered a 2-hour dedication of the Gettysburg Cemetery prior to Lincoln delivering his 2-minute and 10-second, 269-word Gettysburg Address. Number 2, Bruce.
Edward Everett.
Who is Edward Everett? Very good, and you have the board.
Potpourri for 800.
800. The Confederate prison camp, with its 33,000 Union prisoners, that ranked as the 4th most populous city in the Confederacy in 1864. Bruce.
What was Andersonville?
Andersonville is correct.
Potpourri 1,000.
1,000, in finishing that category, the future Chief Justice of the Supreme Court, who was wounded 3 times during the Civil War. And Group 1?
It was Holmes.
Who was Oliver Wendell Holmes. Very good, and once again, you have the board.
Confederate leaders, 800.
800. The Confederate officer who rode into Pickett's charge and was never seen again, dead or alive. Yes.
Pettigrew?
No, it was not Pettigrew. Boop, boop. Audience, anybody? No takers? Who is that man? Richard Garnett. Yes, he rode in on a horse, and that was it. He was obliterated.
I'll throw in a little bit about this. Garnett had been very ill, and first of all, they tried to persuade him not to go at all. And then he couldn't walk across that mile field, so he rode a horse against orders. And when he was killed somewhere in front of the wall at the angle, they created a mass grave after that, and somebody had stripped him of all of his rank and everything else. So he was, they never could identify him. And the other thing is, one of the reasons people think that he insisted on going in was he had been unjustifiably, in my view, criticized and court-martialed at after the Battle of Kernstown by Stonewall Jackson, who thought that he was being a coward for withdrawing his troops just about when they were getting overwhelmed. So Garnett always had a chip on his shoulder about needing to prove his bravery.
And the movie Gettysburg illustrates that quite well, as a matter of fact, with Garnett being shot. They had him being shot by cannon. So he, like I said, was obliterated, never found. And what do we have? Who has the board again? Bruce, is it you?
1865, 200.
A new category. The Union cavalry general who had a brother who earned 2 Medals of Honor in April 1865. Bruce.
Who was Custer?
Who is Custer? Yes, his younger brother Tom Custer. In the early part of April of 1865, 2 Medals of Honor within about a week of each other. You have the board.
1865, 400.
As Vice President of the Confederacy, he met with Abraham Lincoln to discuss terms of peace. Bruce Barrett.
Who was Stevens?
Alexander Stevens is correct. Very good.
1865, 800.
The ill-fated steamboat that blew up, killing over 1,200 released Union prisoners. And number 2, Bruce.
What was the Sultana?
And the name of that boat was the Sultana. Very good.
1865, 1000.
The Native American officer on U.S. Grant's staff who wrote the final draft of Lee's surrender at Appomattox. Bruce Barrett.
Who was Ely Parker?
Ely Parker is correct, yes.
Confederate leaders, 1,000.
And 1,000 to finish that category. The initials of Lieutenant General A.P. Hill, who served under Robert E. Lee, represented these first and middle names. Boop, boop. Audience? Yes, sir. Ambrose Powell Hill. Excellent. Good job. Bruce, you have the board.
Last words, 400.
400. Forward, men, for God's sakes, forward. Yes, the Sawyers.
I might have,
First thought is always a good one.
I know, is it Strong Vincent?
No, I'm sorry, it is not Strong
I
Vincent.
know.
Team 2, Team 1.
I know.
Boop, boop. And audience. Anyone? No? Pennsylvania. Also depicted in the movie Gettysburg. There we go. Union General John Reynolds. Yes, day one, early in the battle, too. Okay, Bruce.
600?
They couldn't hit an elephant at that distance. And we have the Minges.
Who was Sedgwick?
Who is John Sedgwick? Very good. Yes. And you have 2 to pick from now.
800, please.
800. Last words. I am killed. Tell my wife and children that I died fighting at my post. Boop, boop. Audience. Yes, in the back.
Ambrose?
Ambrose?
General Ambrose?
No. Anyone else? Okay, and our answer is Confederate General William Barksdale, his last words. And finally, wrapping up Double Jeopardy for 1,000, she won't think anything of it. Boop, boop. Audience. In the back, yes?
Stonewall Jackson.
No, I'm sorry, not Stonewall Jackson. Those were the final words of this man, Abraham Lincoln. I'll tell you just a quick story because it's one of my favorites. So he and his wife Mary are up in the box watching Our American Cousin, and it is the 3rd act, and it's approximately 10 minutes after 10 on that fateful evening. And it was customary for the president and his wife to have another couple accompany them to the theater. And so sitting on a couch to the side of them was a Union major by the name of Rathbone and his fiancee, Clara Harris, or I think that was her name, Clara Harris. And Mrs. Lincoln was enjoying her time with her husband, Abraham, who had finally started to relax because the war had ended just a few days ago. And they're watching a comedy play. So she grabbed onto his hand and kind of put her head on his shoulder for a moment, and she whispered to Abraham Lincoln, "What will Miss Harris think of me hanging on to you so?" And Lincoln just kind of gently said to her, "She won't think anything of it." And just moments later, he's shot and killed. So the great orator, the great speechwriter, the great man, very simple words. She won't think anything of it.
And there is a follow-up to that. Rathbone and Harris got married. He went overseas with her. I forget if he was serving as a diplomat or not, but they were living in Europe, and he became insane, and ultimately he murdered Clara.
And he murdered her on Christmas, as I recall, and he was then put into an insane asylum where he died. So it was tragedy for everybody who was in that box that night, including John Wilkes Booth. Terrible, terrible story, but a very interesting story. Well, this concludes our Double Jeopardy round. And we have the scores. Good job by everybody, by the way, and especially in the audience there. That was very good. Okay, Team 1, John and Robert Minge, in with an even 2,300 points, 2,300. Bruce Barrett, our solo gentleman here, he really surged during that round. He is leading at 5,700 points. And we have Team 3 here, the Sawyers. Don't feel bad. It takes a lot of guts to play this game at -500. Now, in the real Jeopardy, you are ineligible if you're below 0. But here, in this Jeopardy, you are eligible. Yes, you are. So, we I have paper here for you, and I'll give you a pen, and you can write out your answers, okay?
Oh, our final Jeopardy.
Final Jeopardy. There you go.
And your bids.
Oh, and your bids, yes. You have to do your bids. You can't bid more than you have, okay? Well, you can bid 500. How's that, okay?
Just to get into positive territory.
Yeah, right.
So I would say, are you giving them 2 sheets or 1 sheet?
Just one. They can write the answer and then put their bid.
Yeah, put your bid first, and then
Yeah.
we'll have you write your answers.
Now, your money bid goes down first. They have a pen. There's a pen. I told you this was low budget. You
I got a pen.
passing out pens, you do too. Okay. All right. Everybody put their bid down. Okay. Good. Good. Now I will read to you, or do we have that online? We have it online. Our final Jeopardy question, and we're going to play a little music too, aren't we? Okay. So we know how this goes. Well, we have to read the question first. And our final Jeopardy question coming up. The category for it is Civil War strategy. There it is. In early 1861, Union Commanding General Winfield Scott devised this strategic plan to defeat the Confederacy through economic, naval, and land operations. Good luck. Okay, pens down, please. And we will go over here to team number 3, Jim and Marty Sawyer. And what did you come up with?
Well, the $500 we were graciously allowed, so thank you for using Monopoly
First,
money.
you give the answer.
The boa constrictor?
The boa constrictor. Yeah, we're going to have to say no, because it actually wasn't a boa constrictor. It was a snake, but it wasn't a boa constrictor. And your bid was? 500.
Yeah.
Okay. And then we go over to the Minjis, who are in second place. And you came up with?
The Anaconda plan.
The Anaconda plan is correct. And how much did you bid?
1 million points.
I guess beer for everybody here tonight.
We bid 2,200.
2,200. Okay. So that then, to do my math, that puts you up to 4,500. And finally, Bruce, who was in the lead.
I did 500, and I said, what was the blockade?
What was the blockade? We were looking for the Anaconda plan. So you are docked 500, but you had enough in your score. You are down to 5,200, 4,500, and we will go with 0 there. So our winner, Bruce Barrett, going solo. It was a very good game. We had a lot of good answers, a lot of good competition here. And so on behalf of the Jefferson Society, we would like to give you this certificate for $100. Good at the Jefferson Society. And I want to thank everybody in the audience for being here. You were probably curious as to what this was all about. And this is something we would like to try to do on a yearly basis, if we could, or seasonal basis. And we'll change the questions up, of course. But it's a lot of fun. And our main goal, everybody, was that you leave this building with more knowledge about the Civil War than when you walked into this room. And I hope that that happened. I think it probably did. Some of the questions were tough, but I think some of them will stick with you too. Now, as we said before, we'll open this up for question and answers. It's not going to be just me answering. I'm getting a little talked out here now. George is probably the most qualified of the four of us to answer. So if you have any specific questions, especially pertaining to what you saw on the screen tonight, please raise your hand and the microphones will come around the room and you can speak into that so everybody can hear you. Thank you very much.
While the microphone is coming around, I'd like to, because we would enjoy doing this again if there's enough interest. And you don't have to raise your hands because you want to be nice, but just a quick show of hands. How many would come back for another game? It looks like everybody. Great. Or nearly everybody. And it doesn't have to be Civil War. We can do something else too.
And defend your title. Champions always come back.
Okay, questions.
Okay, first I have a little snippet that I've been to Gettysburg 3 times. Last time was with the General Electric Retirees Association, and I got a souvenir sweatshirt. One of the guys there got a hat that said Gettysburg on it. One time he was walking through the mall, and a woman came up to him and said, "Thank you for your service." He's a senior like I am, probably better looking. But my question is, can you explain that Confederate flag? That's not the usual type Confederate flag we usually see with
That
the cross.
flag is Lee's headquarters flag. So, we threw a couple of ideas out, and Mark decided to use the Lee's headquarters flag. And I think it's a neat-looking flag, and it's not something that you normally would encounter. So I thought that would be kind of a nice one to have. Also, when we do close, when you go out on your right-hand side, one of our members, James Campbell, has brought some artifacts that are related to Erie County and the Civil War. So stop by and take a look and ask him a question or two. Other questions?
What's the context behind strike the tent? The last words question.
That was Lee.
Yeah, that was Lee. Interestingly enough, Stonewall Jackson, I forget his exact quote, but it was about crossing over the river. And there are several generals who had something to do with a military quote at the end, and strike the tent basically was, fold it up, it's over.
But Lee survived the war.
Well, this was in 1870 when he was dying from pneumonia. Other questions?
Your best guess. How many books about the Civil War would you have to read to see every single one of the facts that were on the board? Because I read a general book about the whole Civil War 30 years ago. I know all that isn't in there. So I'm just wondering, how many more books would you have to read that are more narrow in their scope, but to capture and actually learn all these things?
Well, it took 50? It took 4 of us to come up with these categories and questions, and we had probably half as many as you saw, and we kind of whittled it down. And gosh, I don't know. We've all done some reading. My personal library is bigger than I've actually finished. But I know Deac is, ever since he was a kid, ever since I was a kid, we've been fascinated by the Civil War. I know Rick is another long time. He takes school kids on tours. Mark is a retiree from West Point. So it's been a long study from all of us. many, many books.
Well, and don't forget, I also said at the beginning that this was done in my basement with pizza and beer. So that probably helped us too.
But also, before you have too vaunted of opinion of it all, there's also this wonderful thing called Wikipedia. So you can type in 1863 and then just get ideas for questions from that as well as regarding the Civil War. So I did cheat every now and then, yeah.
I will make one final point. If anyone is interested in those questions and answers, because, you know, I've seen them before and I didn't know half of them tonight. But if you're interested, get up with Jake, who would they get? Can they just leave an email with your, we'll have a sign up here. Just send me your email and I'll send it to you in a Word document. So it'll be the question and the answer. So if anybody's interested.
Yeah, I just want to say, too, Mark has been more of the silent guy over here because he's busy on the control board here. But it is this gentleman here, Mark Becker, that this idea actually hatched about a year or so ago. And he wanted to do a game format, and he thought the Jeopardy format would be very, a lot of fun and good to do. And you can see it's turned out to be a pretty good success. So, you know, I really want to say hats off to Mark. He was the brainchild of getting this off and running. And the three of us, we all jumped in to help him. But this was his idea from the get-go. So let's give a nice round of applause to Mark Becker over here. Okay, go home. Anybody else? Any more questions or comments?
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you so much. It's still light.